Hey guys, in this tutorial you'll discover how to make beautiful, soft, even garage style lighting anywhere, even if you're shooting in the great outdoors and there's no shade to be found.
Beautiful day, blue skies, sunshine, kaka lighting. The reason I'm saying that is this is probably the hardest conditions to shoot in, but when you're doing a photo shoot, sometimes you don't get a choice when you get to shoot and you are asked to shoot in the middle of the day. So it is midday and the sun is exactly overhead, and what makes it hard in these conditions is you've got the light overhead and it casts like shadows. All right, you get the shadows from the eye sockets. Very, very tricky light to work in. So if you can, avoid this time of the day. If you can't, I'm going to show you what to do to work around it. All right, so what I want you to do is standing, and we're just going to come down. All right, keep your feet nice and long. You can have them curling or staggered. All right, you're on your side, and then you come down onto your forearm, and then just bring the other one around. So it's like, it's only really your hip that's touching the ground and your legs. I'm going to be there with the camera. So that's where you're going to end up. And you kind of like, it's like you're about to roll over. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then just bring your hands together and then I'll direct you from there. All right? All right, that's great. And down onto your forearm. That's it. And bend your knees. That's it. So snake them. Bend your feet a little bit. Bend your knees and stretch your legs out. That's it. And stagger your feet. You remember how I had them like a little bit staggered? That's it. And come down. All right. So what that's done is, now just come around looking at me. It's almost, her face is in shadow, but we've still got these highlights from the sun, so really hard shadows. When we're in this sort of light and when you're starting out, you actually miss this sort of stuff, and it kind of looks good behind the camera because there's so much light around, but you need to focus on that, because once you've got those sorts of shadows on the face, they're really hard to get rid of. So the trick is to bring in a scrim, and what that does is it's like having a little portable cloud. The other way that I like to work in these conditions is I wish for a cloud to come along, but they don't always do that. And it's like, there's probably a, I don't know, 1% success rate with that technique. So if you want to get it right the other 99% of the time, one of these is great. So these come, this is what's inside the 5-in-1 reflector, and it lets the light pass through, but it also softens the shadows. So we put that over Bronte like that, and we've got beautiful light. So what I'm going to show you is what it looks like first without the reflector, so you can have an idea of how contrasty the light is. Now what I want to do is make it look like she's in some beautiful meadow. Again, I'm using my long lens, so it's going to be a long, narrow frame. I'm not going to see a lot of this. We've got people over there, we've got cars over there. So if I was shooting with a wide lens, I'd probably get all the guff that I don't need or don't want. So I'm actually going to get down to the same level as Bronte so that I'm shooting at eye level or just under. So I'm probably going to end up having to lie down as well. And I've got the grass in front of her so that it looks like you've got lots of grass. She's in this beautiful meadow with lots of grass. And I'm going to take a reading here, and that looks amazing.
So in full sun, to capture this image, I'm shooting at f2.8 at a 200mm focal length. My shutter speed is 1/1000th of a second, and I'm on ISO 100. So you can see that because I've exposed for the skin tone, it's looking good overall, but these hard shadows are a real issue and they really detract from the shot itself. So to improve the overall look of the image and get rid of all these shadows, I'm basically going to create my own open shade situation by bringing in a diffuser, and then I need to open up my shutter speed by about 1.5, 1 2/3 stops. So I'm going to be shooting at f2.8, 1/320th of a second at ISO 100. Now, because I've slowed down my shutter speed, I'm letting more light in, and basically I'm going to blow the background out a little bit more. So this is more of a fashion style look to the image, but it's beautiful lighting and I don't have any of those harsh shadows anymore. Here's another simulation seen through the camera. So first up, I've got my model out in full midday sun. You can see those harsh shadows caused by that hard sunlight. And so we bring in the portable garage lighting or a diffuser, or you can even use the solid reflector if you've got very, very harsh light. That'll work just as well. So once the shade has been created with a diffuser or a reflector, I'm starting at a shutter speed of 1/1000th of a second, and then bring in the reflector and open up 1/800th, 1/640th, 1/500th of a second, 1/400th of a second, 1/320th of a second. So you can see just by opening up that shutter speed what a difference it makes and how beautiful the light is when it's under beautiful even shade compared to that hard sunlight. So you can make portable lighting shade anywhere. Now the issue is whenever you end up shooting, say, somewhere where you want to have a large panoramic background, or you want to do a full body shot, then obviously it gets more difficult. So there are workarounds, and something like this setup here, which is it's called a scrim gin. It's like a large panel that you can mount onto a couple of stands, and then you can actually put some rotating heads on the top if you want to change the angle to give you more or less shade. So this works well, and I will combine this setup so that I create open shade, and then I can bring my flash in to light my model, so I'm not having to overpower the sun to get the shot that I want. I find this is a great way, and it's also a lot more comfortable for your model. There is another fantastic hack that I picked up from the film and TV industry that I want to share with you now.
Diffusers are fantastic when you're working in conditions like this where it's really bright, but the problem is that if you try, like just say you're in a location where it's just like an open paddock and you want to diffuse someone. So let's say I want to diffuse her and I bring my diffuser in, and if I want to do this as a really long shot, the problem with the diffuser is like the shadow. It looks obvious that I've used a diffuser. So if I was doing this as a wider shot, I wanted to get some of the panorama and the grass and everything, you can tell by the edge, like you can get round ones or rectangle ones. It shows, and it's not pretty. So a really good trick I learnt from the film and TV guys is they have diffusers, but when they're in a situation like this, what they do is just around the edges they clamp twigs and sticks to the edge, And so now, have a look at the shadow that you get. You get a far more natural looking shadow. So you can imagine that once that's all covered, now it looks like a tree that's covering her. It's like natural shade rather than the round disc of a diffuser.